Why are South Africans so fat? Today, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it. Now, I know I'm being blunt when I'm saying this, but I promise I'm saying it with love. Why am I wearing scrubs, man? Like, what? Will you guys believe what I say if I'm not wearing scrubs? Like, Chapter 1, our failed economy. If you were to go to your local fuck-ass grocery store, this is what you would find. 100 rand for blueberries. 45 rand for beans. Maybe I feel like some salmon. I don't feel like salmon anymore. 39 rand for mushrooms. 60 rand for broccoli. I feel like you should get paid to eat broccoli. I didn't know I cost 64 rand at Woolworths. So now let's play a game. This is Emerentia. I don't know why I picked the name Emerentia, but this is Emerentia, okay? She works as a domestic worker and she gets paid a minimum wage of, how much is it? 28 rand 99 cents an hour, or in layman's term, 10 Woolworths blueberries per hour. So working 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for 40 hours per week. That totals to about 4,600 rand a month. That's like minimum wage. That's what millions of people in South Africa are currently getting paid, if they're even employed. So now, let's go to the other side of the spectrum. This is Daniel. He's a software engineer and he's gay. Okay, that has nothing to do with the story, but I just wanted to say that. He's been working for 8 years. He gets paid 450 rand an hour. So now he also works 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. But instead, each month he gets paid 72,000 rand. So we have 4,600 rand on one side of the spectrum and 72,000 rand on not even the other side of the spectrum, but you know, somewhere in between. So now Emerentia needs to use this 4,600 rand to feed her 3 kids, her husband, her mother-in-law, her cousin, whereas Daniel gets to use the 72,000 rand for him and his grinder subscription. And maybe he has a, let's say he has a pet. What are those things called? Like let's say he has a rat, I don't know. So now if Emerentia pays 1,000 rand for rent, she's actually only left for 3,600 rand in this monthly budget. Now I know there's millions of other expenses and this and that, but for the sake of making my life easier, we're just gonna keep it simple, okay? Just rent.
She now has 3,600 rand to feed, let's say, 5 mouths.
Keep it simple.
Divide that 3,600 rand, 4 weeks in the month.
Keep it simple. She has about 900 rand per week to spend on food for 5 people. She's gonna have to spend probably half, if not more, on transport. So now 5 people, 2 meals a day, 10 meals a day for 7 days. That's 70 meals a week. 900 rand for 70 meals. That's a budget of 12 rand. 12 rand per meal. Now explain to me how you're gonna get all, you know, that food pyramid. How are you gonna be able to fit that pyramid inside of 12 rand? So now what options do we have? 10 kgs of maize meal at 110 rand. That can make about 50 servings of pap. What is pap? Just carbohydrates, complex sugars. Let me check my facts. So in about 250 grams of pap, there's 30 to 40 grams of carbs, 2 to 3 grams of protein, 0.5 to 1 gram fat with very low fiber. Practically no micronutrients unless it's specifically fortified. And if you're using that as the bulk of your meal, there is huge deficiencies that you're gonna expect. Number 1, it is carbohydrates, so it does give you energy, but it's high GI index, meaning it's gonna spike your sugar, you're not gonna feel full for long, and then you're just gonna wanna eat more to be able to curb your cravings. Pretty much all of these calories that you consume can only be stored as fat. You're not getting any micronutrients, you're not getting any energy, you're not getting any building blocks for muscle. You're literally just getting empty calories to be used as fat. So even though you might be picking up a lot of weight, you're not really actually eating anything that provides nutrition to you. It's sort of a paradox because you're severely under-eating in terms of the different food groups that you need, but on appearance, you're gonna be fat. Okay, so now back to the gay boy. Daniel pays nothing for rent because his dad is a millionaire and he gave him a nice apartment in Sea Point because why not? His Grindr premium account cost him 100 rand per month. Also, I just want to point out, I had to use a private browser to research how much a Grindr premium subscription costs. If we take Daniel's wage now, 71,900 Rand per month, if you minus the grinder subscription. Now, if we to use the same proportion that Emerentia used of her salary on Daniel, Daniel would have 56,000 Rand per month to spend on food for him and himself and his rat. So now here's another thought experiment. 4 chicken breasts, let's say they're 60 Rand. For Daniel, that's about 0.07% of his salary. For Emerentia, that's 1.1% of his salary. So now if we to flip the tables and to make that chicken breast 1.1% of Daniel's salary, it would cost 811 Rand for 4 chicken breasts. Meaning that if you were to make the prices fair, chicken breasts would need to cost 811 Rand for Daniel for it to be the same amount as it does cost for Emerentia. There's a lot of other expenses in life, and this is a very simplified and blah, blah. Shut up. Okay? I'm just using this. It's just shut up. I'm just trying to prove a point as to how much more food costs for different parts of society proportionately. And when you take those proportions and match them to a higher salary, you start to realize how ridiculous it actually is and how crazy it is to expect these people to like eat, you know? So now if Daniel has 56,000 Rand to spend on food per month, you can only imagine what he's gonna eat. Caviar, salmon. He can probably even buy the unethical stuff like, I don't know, lion meat. Like, I'm not condoning it, but I'm saying like he really could if he wants. So the truth is, it's almost impossible for Emerentia to have a well-balanced diet and to eat food that keeps her full and is not gonna make her bankrupt. Let's move on to chapter 2. Cuisine. Just like our population, South African cuisine is very diverse. A lot of the food and the culture is very intertwined with the history. It's primarily made up of indigenous food, which would be like your maize, your sorghum, those sort of things. The Afrikaner influence, meat heavy, pastries, lots of deep fried, sweet things. Then there's the Malay food, which is a lot of curries, a lot of sweet and savory. Also lots of fried and oily food. There's some British influence, there's some Indian influence with the bunny chows. And then there's a lot of sort of township street food that was built off the back of a struggling economy. Now, despite all of these cuisines being so different, the one thing that unites us is fucking being unhealthy. And as different as they are, and as good as they taste, I'm gonna be honest, as a doctor, it's not good for you, man. So once again, I don't say any of these things with judgment, because these cuisines, these identities were shaped around an economy that redistributed wealth from the people of color towards the white people. And the way the people of color adapted is by creating cuisines that maximize the amount of calories you get for the minimal cost. So cheap fats, cheap carbs, but a lot of nutrients, a lot of health is lost in that process. And for good reason, you know, it was very much a survival of the fittest situation. It was very much an evolutionary change from a huge societal and economic pressure. It wasn't necessarily a choice. And I think it's important to understand that and to not judge these decisions without the proper context. Okay. This is a Polony Gatsby. I can literally already feel my blood pressure going up just by unboxing this. Oh my God, this is insane. Bro. So inside here, we have white bread, chips, as in like fries, polony, at least 1 kilogram of sauce, and like a few strands of lettuce just to make it a bit healthier, I guess. All of this cost me 120 Rand. And bear in mind, this is not as cheap as it gets. To get all of this food for like less than the price of a poke bowl is insane. This must be like a kg. Like, I'm not even. Let's have a bite. It does taste pretty good. But oh my God, like the amount of salt, sauce, like there's so much flavor in here. And usually that's a good thing, but I know that all this flavor is coming at a big cost. Don't make such an adult, such a parent. Okay, so let me break down what's actually inside here. So first thing, polony. High salt, high saturated fat, nitrites and nitrates in the form of preservatives, and processed meat to actually group 1 carcinogens, meaning the evidence linking this to cancer is as strong as cigarettes. Worst part is the protein that you're getting is not even good quality. It's not necessarily going to help you become
jacked.
It's going to put you at risk for high blood pressure, and just being fucked up in general. So now the backbone of all this food is a nice white loaf. These refined carbs are going to be putting you at risk of diabetes. Chips fried in low quality oils, high heat, they're high in trans fats, which is going to cause like heart disease, insulin resistance, all that macaca. The acrylamide, which is going to increase your cancer risk. Now ChatGPT says the amount of sodium inside this Gatsby is about 2.5 to 3.5 grams of sodium. That's more than you need in a day. So I'm not even going to get into the sources, but you already know that that's also going to cause a whole bunch of shit. Basically, the only thing it's good for is getting as many calories in with as little money as possible. I can feel my arteries clogging up. Cancer, diabetes, stroke, heart attack, blah. This meal would give that Brian Johnson guy a seizure. There's no ways I'm going to finish this. Not because I'm not hungry, but because I want to live past the age of 45. Enough. It's like, enough. I don't even feel good after I've eaten. Enough. But I won't lie, if I was hungry and I had one of these put in front of me, my God. One more. I would tear through this fucking shit.
Enough.
Oh my God. Bro, it's good. I'm not gonna pretend like it's not good.
I would tear through this fucking shit.
The same way it's gonna tear through my asshole later. So now, as much as I can appreciate how good this food does taste, I must keep it real and tell you guys that it's not good for anything else besides your taste buds. And I know this isn't talked about enough, but obesity is genuinely a pandemic. Obesity is a pandemic. So now the truth is that obesity is an epidemic in South Africa. And it's an epidemic that primarily affects low-income households. Losing weight is a lot more complex than just eating less. For so many people, it's such an epidemic, and not necessarily a nutritional diet problem, but more an economic and societal problem. If the majority of the food you're eating is carbs because that's all you can afford, you'll end up eating a lot more calories than you need for a lot less nutrients that you need. And now Emerentia is not even an AI generated person. Like, she is here, but she represents the story of millions of South Africans that currently live in South Africa. Worldwide, the WHO quoted that there's about 16% of adults that are obese, meaning BMI of more than 30. Now I know that BMI has its challenges and doesn't always encapsulate the full context of the human being, but for lack of better measure, we are going to be quoting BMI. So the WHO quoted that 16% of adults worldwide are obese, meaning BMI of more than 30. In South Africa, it was almost double. Well, not almost double, it was double. 32.1% of adults had obesity, meaning a BMI of more than 30. So now the craziest part about all of this is that of those 32% of South Africans that are obese, 69% of them are from food insecure households. I know sort of being fat has the connotation of being gluttonous and greedy and rich, and it's a disease of the rich people and all of this. It's clearly not, because the stats are showing that most obese people are actually poor. And I think understanding that and acknowledging that might be the first step in us being able to do something about it. Obesity is as much a nutritional disease as it is a societal and economic disease. Okay, but